Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am here to do my review on Season 3, Episode 2, Disruptive Behavior. Let me tell you something. If I had to rate this particular episode, again, I would give it a C minus. I think that looking at Paola and Ross is just something I'm not enjoying this season. But anyway, I digress, and we're going to move on. I want to start with Russ and Paola. We see them going over to Colombia, and we see them in the airport. And, they've had a 9-hour flight. They get to Colombia, and they are greeted by the sister with her husband and her two kids. It's a really pleasant reunion, I guess, for the most part. And it's, not a happy occasion that they're going back. It appears that Paola hasn't been back to her homeland, Colombia, for 4 years, and she's going back because her grandmother is sick. Excuse me. We see Paola having a conversation with her sister, and her sister is basically like, you don't know us, we don't know you, you haven't been home. And basically, the family is alluding to the fact that they're blaming Russ for this. It's not Russ' fault that Paola hasn't seen him. It's been the Benjamins, okay, or the lack thereof. We see her in the hospital with her grandmother, and this is really a touching occasion. But for some reason, TLC didn't change the door. They did not change the camera when grandma had the oatmeal and the grits and the popcorn coming out of her mouth. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, now this is supposed to be a scene where we see her having her last moments with her grandmother, but still and yet we trying to figure out what is all that stuff coming out of her mouth. And everybody in the house that I was watching it with was just a little bothered. One of my cousins was like, okay, I'm on to Earl. Okay, now TLC, I know that y'all don't have a lot of sympathy for these people, but goddamn, change the channel. Turn the camera, to face Paola or something. We just do not need to know what grandma had for breakfast. But anyway, I digress. She had this touching moment with her grandmother, and the grandmother did recognize her, told her to stay sweet and all. And it just doesn't seem like she's going to have a lot of time with her grandmother. But I'm glad that the grandmother had an opportunity to meet Russ. We later on see her taking Russ through the streets where she grew up, and she was taking him, back and forth to the different places where she's traveled and where she's visited. And I'm just like, okay, this is like the slums, for real, for real. But she runs into an old friend who is riding on motorcycles, and she decides that she's going to introduce him to Russ, and they ride on the motorcycles with these people, and Paola's butt is looking really good. The gym is working for her. And then she comes back only to have a conversation with Russ and tell him that this is her old boyfriend. Russ is like, why is she lying? She doesn't have to lie about this. Just tell me the truth. And she said, honestly, I forgot. Come on now, Pie. You did not forget that that was your boyfriend. And, so an argument ensues between the two of them. And it's just like, okay, this girl has so many tricks up her sleeves, and it's absolutely pathetic. Talking about pathetic, let's talk about George. George is sitting, in his hotel room, brokenhearted, thought he had to poop and only farted. And, basically, he's alone. He's thinking about the things that he did with Amphisa. He's making all these excuses and saying that, basically he lied about, her being one of those, um, video girls. And we know for a fact that we've seen videos of Amphisa in, some type, some compromising positions. But anyway, he says that he's got to get back with her. And so we see him, going to the laundromat, And it does look like he's lost some weight, because he's probably starving. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have Anfisa anymore. And so he's probably in a depressed mode. At last week we saw him at the fake ass office with the lawyers talking about he might get a divorce, but we all knew that he wasn't going to get one anyway. And so, he's at the laundromat with one one tub of soap powder and one bag of clothes. He takes everything and stuffs it in there. Look like he had whites mixed with the colors, but that's a man. And he takes and put the laundry in there and he calls her. What I was amazed at was how broken his phone was. I was like, he is at rock bottom. He had so many cotton freaking cracks in his phone that looked like stained glass mirrors. I just was like, what the entire hell is going on with his phone? This is the clean version, y'all. And so I'm just like, okay, so he calls Anfisa on the phone and he, wants to make small talk with her, ultimately to get to the point where he wants to see her. He asks Anfisa, can we see each other? And she's like, for what? What do we need to talk about? And he's like, well, can I just please have an hour of your time? I've had an opportunity to sit back and think about the things that I've done, Anfisa, and so I really want to make it up to you. So she was like, all right, bitch. I mean, okay, I'll see you for an hour. We'll do dinner. Everybody know Anfisa like a good meal. We see Anfisa, pull up to the bumper baby. She pulls up in front of the hotel. She gets the little ticket from the valet. And she strolls up in there like, hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up. And I was like, Anfisa is living the life. And, she sits down at the table. She has her Gucci bag, her Christian Louboutins on, her little tight pants, her leather jacket. She sits down and she starts talking to George. And she tells him, you know what? My face is up here, not right here. And so, he's such a pressed, desperate type of man. And so we see him basically ask her, to get back with him. He wants another opportunity to be a dog to her and an insignificant asshole. And so she's like, you know what? I'm going to give him one more chance. But really, I'm not feeling him. Because, what Anfisa, basically told him, look, I'm in college. I got I have my green card. I'm working. I got a car. I am living the life, George. And basically, I don't need you anymore. And you know what? Anfisa does it. I am Team Anfisa. In case you did not know, I am absolutely Team Anfisa. And so she decides that she's going to get back with him. And I'm just like, this is the worst thing. Talking about get back with somebody. Molly, of course, we know has Louise living back in the house. Louise is complaining his ass off like he usually does. He's washing dishes and everything, and he's talking about how Olivia is still being difficult. He's trying his best to be Mr. Mom. He doesn't like being domesticated. He's having to watch Kinsley all day, every day. Now, that I don't understand. With all the money that Molly makes, I don't understand why Molly will not put her child into daycare. I'm not getting it. But anyway, so he's trying to say that, he's trying to make things better, and it's just not working. Olivia is disrespectful as hell, and he just doesn't know how much more of this he can deal with. And then we sit there and we see the brother come over, Jesse. Jesse's, I guess, he wants to put Louise in his place and tell him that he needs to step up as the man in the house. And he's like, it's not going to work. The kids are disrespectful. And, I just don't know how much more of this I can take. And Jesse's like, look, you're a man who said that you were going to do something. We need you to commit to do what you said you were going to do. Molly really needs you. What Molly needs is daycare. Molly needs a nanny or something like that. I think that, although I do not like Louise, and I think he's a total asshole, I do agree with him. He should not be in that house taking care of those kids all day just because he doesn't have, his green card yet. I don't understand Molly's mentality around this. We find out later on, we see Molly trying to call Olivia. Olivia has not been staying at the house now for a week. She calls Olivia, and Olivia tells her that she's over there at her boyfriend's house. Why the hell Olivia is over there at her boyfriend's house, I don't understand. You are not a grown damn woman. You need to be staying with an aunt or uncle or maybe your grandfather or your grandmother. But what the hell are you doing staying over there with a man? I don't understand people who give their child these kind of liberties, but you know what? That's Molly's business. That's what Molly wants to do. But I just think it's a badass look. So anyway, she goes into the living room and she, tells Louise, about the problem, like he give a damn. And he was like, I've seen you be good to this girl, and she hasn't done anything but treat you poorly. So Molly calls her girlfriend who was on Double Divas with her, and named Cynthia, I believe, and they drive out to this house. You know what I'm saying? Molly got the black people hoodie on and everything, and they go out there and they knock on the door, and Olivia comes to the door and was like, Mom, what the hell you doing here? The only reason why I think that Olivia was as respectful as she was, because number one, the cameras was in front of her, and number two, it was one of her mom's girlfriend that she respected. Molly went on to say that how Olivia is not even going to school. She's disrespectful in class. She's just not being herself. And she's not coming home. And she told her, you know what? I have tried to talk to you. You have not put me first. You have put this man first, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. And so, you know what? As a result, I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to be there with Louise. Just let him take care of Kinsley and leave me the hell alone. And, basically, Molly makes a decision, to leave and leave her daughter still in the house. I would have dragged her ass up out of there kicking and screaming. And I just was like, Molly was like, my daughter and I have had a close relationship with one another, and now we don't. But that's because, Molly, you put a man in front of your child, and you have to remember that you have to put your children first. No matter what, you put your children first. You don't put your children last, especially for some man that you have not known, who bamboozled you, left and went to New Jersey, caused ruckus up in your house, got scratched on last year by Kinsley with a damn chalk. It is too much, Molly. You can't lose your girl, your daughter, because of this man. Put him the hell out. You are losing everything when you lose your children, and it's nothing like being estranged from your kids. I've never experienced that. My daughter and I have had some rough times, but I've never been estranged from my daughter, and I can't even imagine it. But anyway, she leaves, and she says, you know what, this has got to end. Even Louise, went on to say how he knows that this behavior that's coming from Olivia is because of him. You damn Skippy, is because of you. And then the next thing we see is this damn David. David has picked up his son Jacob and decided that Jacob is going to be living in the house with him Monday through Friday. Jacob gets to the firehouse, he's pulling all his stuff out of the trunk, pillows and all this, and he says how dirty the firehouse is. But when he gets upstairs, he discovers that it is clean. It's a normal looking house when you get upstairs in the damn thing. And so, basically he says, you know what, because I'm getting ready to pay rent up in here, I'm going to charge Jacob. Now, Jacob, as far as I know, was still in high school and only 18 years old. He says that, Jacob didn't have anywhere to live because his mother got married and moved. And he tried to make it seem like, that she abandoned him. Let me tell you something. I know the mother personally, and she did not abandon her child. And so for David to make that statement, that broad brush statement, I want to make sure that you all know that Jacob is happily living with his mother and no longer living with Annie and David in the firehouse. And so David, how dare you make some damn, statement like that and make it seem like you there for your children and all that. No, your ass, you can probably afford to pay the $800, and you're going to charge your son $50 a week, $200 a month of $1,000 rent that you have to pay. You raggedy son of a bitch. I can't believe that you would say something like that about the mother. I'm not going to say what her name is, but she has in no way abandoned her child or left him homeless. Annie is sitting up there talking about, how she, basically, has sex with David, 5 times a week. And because Jacob is in the house, she can't have sex with him. She can only do 2 days. And so David's like, we can be quiet and have sex like, we in Thailand, like we did in Thailand. And she was like, why do I have to be quiet? She said, plus your ass is so big, it gets to clapping. You know what I'm saying? You got to clap her, and you can't keep that quiet. She even talks about, he can't play house with his 25-year-old wife, and he can't walk around there ass naked. Can you imagine David ass naked somewhere? I would be like, Danielle, deaf, dumb, and blind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The hell with somebody, like, just the visual of it makes me just want to hurl, okay? Earl. So, basically, she gets on the phone with her mother from Thailand because life is hard. David says that marriage life is wonderful. She's like, no, it's not. Life is hard. She gets on the phone with her mother, and her mother was like, where my damn money? Bitch better have my money. You understand what I'm saying? The mother singing Rihanna like a like a mofo on there, okay? Bitch better have my money. Where's my $15,000 in my dowry? I need my dowry. I need my bots. And so she was like, look, Mom, he ain't got it. Andy goes on to talk about how Ashley is the oldest child. She feels lonely. Ashley still don't like her and don't mess with her, lean with her, rock with her like that. And Ashley is having, got 3 different husbands and had all these babies like rabbits. I was like, oh my God, she did not tell her mother that. So she is basically torn Ashley down to the mother, down to the ground, to the nitty nitty of the ground. And so, she's basically like, Mom, I'm gonna have to tell you the truth. We ain't got no money. We ain't never gonna have no money. As long as I'm with this man, I am never gonna have any money. And you know what? Basically, she's right. She's like, you ain't getting that damn dowry, Mom. I had to pawn all my stuff. I'm basically lonely, and I'm down here with his oldest daughter who having babies like rabbits. I just like, oh my God, like Annie's. Okay, Ashley, you're gonna have to come back with something on that ass on that one. So anyway, last but not least is Nicole. Nicole has received a letter, a letter from a call from Azan saying that he needed more paperwork. And so basically, the mother said that's AKA send me more money. And you know what? The mother is right. Nicole starts screaming at her mother, Mom, don't say that. Don't say that. So she sends documentation over to Azan, and guess what? She gets a telephone call and a letter. Bitch, he ain't coming to the United States of America. They said, well, look, you little dumb, United States citizen. He's not coming over from Morocco. So go ahead on and kick rocks and kiss our ass at the same time. So she discovers that Azan is not coming. And I'm like, okay, good. Good. And now she's devastated, don't know what to do since she hasn't seen him in 10 months and doesn't believe that the relationship is going to last, being a long distance relationship for much longer. Let me tell you something. This particular episode, like I said, I'm going to go ahead on the rate this a C. I'm going to go ahead and give it a C. But basically, Ozon's not coming, and she's still living in that filthy style of an apartment. It comes to find out that the apartment is something that's owned by her grandfather for women who are needy and, homeless and helpless. So she's right about in the right vicinity. She's in the right apartment complex. This particular episode, y'all, we're going to eat this up on Thursday. As you all know, YouTube has been having a lot of problems, and so I decided, you know what, it's time to go back to the camera and not to be live as much, because I just don't know what's going on with me. But I thank you all so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you all live at 8:30 this Thursday, talking about this live and in living color, and we will be accepting phone calls. I finally got it together. I love y'all so much, and y'all have a great night and a great Memorial Day tomorrow. Love you.